abortion rights. I think that there is political common ground on some of those issues. I'm for it. But I'm deeply skeptical that democratic and liberal ideology can accommodate this kind of change in order to make a real appeal. Because it is based in a philosophy of complete human autonomy, the autonomy of adults. And so I'll give you one example. I have a good, very democratic friend who is, well, I think kind of more than one. Very
I'm afraid that's the case.
Very good, very democratic friend, well-connected, who works on issues of handicap rights and has had with a variety of democratic public officials conversations on the point of saying, you know, can we at least revisit this idea? And by the way, he's pro-choice, he doesn't support restrictions, but can we at least revisit this idea of getting rid of every Down syndrome child in America, okay? Of doctors testing and putting pressure to get rid of handicapped people, okay? So at least we can say that handicapped people should have sympathy, a presumption of sympathy in America, instead of a presumption that they're a burden on society and that our society, you know, we can't adequately accommodate them. And has gotten no interest whatsoever because of this philosophy of autonomy. We can't question the rights of somebody of complete control over their choices. And that to me is a sign or symptom that the Democratic Party has a long way to go to say that there's some other philosophic framework that you can examine these things from. That shift, even if they want to look better on this issue, I mean, you know, Governor Casey, someone who I had great respect for, really believed that the weak and voiceless should have a voice in American politics. It's the reason he was pro-life and the reason he was trusted by pro-life people. Okay. On this question of let's reduce the number of abortions, I'm for it. But a lot of pro-life people generally then would ask follow-up question, why? Okay. Why do you want to reduce the number of abortions? Okay. And a lot of modern liberals find it very hard to then answer the question because they can't say, because we believe in human rights and dignity, we think this is the weakest member of the human family, we believe in an inclusive society that draws the boundaries widely instead of narrowly. Okay. So it makes it hard. There are philosophic reasons it's hard for Democrats to oppose something like sex selection abortion, or you know, the abortion of Down syndrome children, or in England now, where you have you know, regular you know, therapy, you know, selective abortions for clubfoot, which is an entirely correctable condition. You know, it's not some kind of debilitating condition. And I just don't know if they have the ideological ability to make the arguments for that kind of protection.
Just say, I'm sorry, this, I think it's entirely, I disagree with Mike on the last point. I think many liberals, first of all, many liberals oppose sex selection abortion, oppose the abortion of Down syndrome babies, and want to reduce the number of abortions because they do believe life is sacred. And you can argue, one can argue in a pluralistic society about exactly when life begins. I personally am very uneasy even with legal abortion once you get much beyond the first trimester. I think the problem with making abortion illegal in the first trimester and maybe the earliest stages of abortion is threefold. A lot of liberals are not pro-choice because they want to encourage abortions. They are pro-choice because they worry very much that abortions in large numbers will happen anyway, and that women would be harmed, and that when you're choosing life, when you're trying to figure out how to advance a life, that's a very difficult situation to face. Secondly, I think most liberals look at this as a conflict of rights, the autonomy of the woman and the rights of the fetus / child to birth, and that there is this deep argument. It's not that they are indifferent to the life inside a mother's womb, but that they are torn and about exactly how do you balance these two if you will, goods, the autonomy of women and the protection of life. So I don't think, and then the last thing just on liberalism, liberalism, like conservatism, has strong strains of individualism and strong strains of communitarianism. And I think both liberals and conservatives struggle with the balance between community and liberty, with the balance between autonomy and a variety of other moral values that kind of rub up against or come in conflict with autonomy. So I think it's more complicated than that, because I don't think you would get to the point that you are at now with so many liberals beginning to talk about reducing the number of abortions if they were totally without philosophical and intellectual resources to take very seriously the moral question of what is a fetus? Is a fetus human life?